to happen. So what I want you to talk to us about, because you obviously, I don't think, and you have had several successful hostage situations. Hostages don't give themselves up or not do what they are threatening if they don't feel they want something. That's why you guys will always say, okay, I'm going to give you light, but you got to give me something too. You got to give me 2 hostages. At least that's how it looks in the movies. I don't know if that's how it works in real life, but you see the hostages, they come, okay, they switch off the light and then they are negotiating. So okay, I'm going to put on your light, but you got to give me something. I got to show something to my bosses. Give me 2 of those hostages, and they give you. If they want to get food, you negotiate. That way, you start to de-escalate because the bad guy is also feeling he's winning, even though a concept of win is different for both sides. So what I wanted to address in just a couple of minutes is how can individuals approach negotiations from a win-win perspective than a win-lose mentality so that we don't keep perpetuating the circle of friction. Go.
All right. So I am not a fan of thinking of negotiations as win-win or win-lose. I am not. I believe that in many negotiations, you may be negotiating with someone who is very self-centered, someone who is very aggressive, and there's no way of successfully winning that. You're going to end up losing. So I don't like the win-win approach to things. I don't like the win-lose approach to things. I like the approach that says, I'm here to work with you, and I would like to see us reach an agreement that we're both happy with. Now, you may say, well, that's a win-win, Paul. It is, but you're not focusing on the words win-win.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say, that would be a win-win, but I hear you. You don't like using the word win-win or win-lose. You just like the stage of resolving the battle. Okay, go ahead. I'm enjoying it. Go on.
Yeah, and the reason I don't like using the words win-win is because you may be thinking in your mind, well, I have to make this win-win. And then your negotiatee, the person who's negotiating with you, is saying, well, Paul, I want you to take a 15% drop on that, and that will be a win-win. And if your mindset is, well, this has to be a win-win, and I really want us to both to win-win here, he's asking me to take 15% less than what I had really. That was my ceiling, okay, well, I have to make this win-win. Okay, yeah, sure, Dr. Ope, I'll go with that 15%. We'll work it out. And then I've won one. No, I haven't. I've actually lost. But
what is wrong with that? Because to get something, you have to give something. It's my own understanding. Maybe you're going to educate me today. What is wrong in that?
You're right.
That would make me leave that place happy and you happy. Why is that a bad thing? I'm just challenging you now. Go ahead.
Yes, and I'm glad that you did, because if you take 15% less than what you originally, when you walk into your preparation, you have to walk in with, what is my bottom line? My bottom line, let's say that we're negotiating a $5 million contract, and I'm willing to give it to you for $450 million. That is my bottom line, because if I don't give it to you, like if I give it to you for less, I'm going to be losing. I'm going to be losing money. I'm going to be losing quality. I'm going to have to give up something. I'm going to be working. So my bottom line is $450 million. And you say, Paul, you know what? I can give you $425 million. And let's seal the deal at 425. That way it's a win-win and we both leave happy. If I'm of the mindset win-win and I say, well, you know what, I can't do it for less than 450 million, and this is why. I give my reasons why. Or as hostage negotiators, we would say, you know, that's just something I can't do. Let's work at what I can do. So if I've already set my bottom line as 450 million, and you're saying in order for this to be a win-win, it has to be 425 million, I've got to be prepared to walk away from that deal. I will say, before this negotiation, Dr. Ope, these are the reasons I set $450 million as something that we could both live with, and these are the reasons. So that negotiation, that moment, asserts in me that I know my value and that you're not going to dictate anything less, that I can assert myself and say, the bottom line for me is 450 million. And if we can't agree on that, Dr. Ope, I'm really happy that we got together And these are the reasons I can't go below that, because my business would suffer. My commitments to other people would suffer because more time would be given, whatever it is. So that then does not become a win-win situation. That becomes win-lose. If I'm of the mentality win-win and I'm thinking, he's got me across the barrel, I'm going to give myself up. Okay. Sure, I'll go for 425. There's $25 million that I just can't afford. So that becomes a win-lose for me. The outcome must be mutually agreeable. And this is where negotiation comes in. Does that make sense to you? Is that we say...
I don't agree. This is the only thing you've said today that I don't agree with, in the sense that in life, in real life, nobody, especially when a conflict has arisen, okay, when things are broken down and you need to negotiate, nobody is going to get what they deserve. That's just not going to happen. The only way it's going to there's going to ever be peace and everybody walking away is that everybody takes a haircut. But what you are saying is that if you have a bottom line of where you're going to end up in a loss, you are never going to go below it. You rather go to war. You rather walk away. I'm not of that mindset. Okay,
and that's fair.
Because that way you are saying you rather is a mindset that goes into the negotiation thinking they have to get what they deserve. But the truth is, you ended up in that place because the other guy doesn't want to give you what to deserve. That is a given, because if the other guy was ready to give you what to deserve, you guys wouldn't even be negotiating. He would have given it to you. So by definition, in my own mind, and I'm not a negotiator, I'm not whatever, is that everybody is going to have to take a cut from what they think is fair to them. That's the only way you walk away from that place in a win-win. But from what you are saying, you determine your position, and if the other guy is not ready to give it to you, you walk away. To me, you're thinking win-lose. I may be wrong. You've done this for 31 years. But that's what I'm thinking. I'll give you the last word on that, and we have to go to another question. But
you bet. All right. And here, I really want to stress that. I love what you had to say.
Yeah.
But in any negotiation, you, in your preparation phase, have to know what your bottom line is, what you can accept and what you can't accept. And it's not like if I used 500 million, let's just use a sale that's like $250 or whatever it is that you know what you can walk away with comfortably and what could end up hurting you if you were to accept the deal. It's like Kenny Rogers had this song, The Gambler, know when to walk away, know when to run. And I believe that in a negotiation, if we start off with this figure, this sum, we're both negotiating for 500 million. Let's go back to the 500 million. We're negotiating for 500 million, but that's not what we're going to end up with. We're both going to have to give and take. This is where the negotiation is. However, if it gets below the threshold where you may lose your business by giving in, and so many big companies have done this. So many big companies have dealt with other bigger companies that said, hey, this has got to be a win-win. We've got to have a win-win here. You've got to take a cut. You've got to take a loss. And many companies have gone and they said, okay, we're going to do it, only to find out that they neglected or that they didn't abide by the contract. They weren't able to keep up because they took too much of a severe loss. All I'm saying is know your bottom line and don't go below it, because if you do, you could jeopardize your company. You could end up out of business. And I'm going to tell you, big companies have gone out of business because they promised too much.